What is good, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back, and we're back to react to Daniel Farke's impassioned press conference. Gotta say, very, very passionate. We're going to get into the details there. I may miss a few things because there was a lot said, but we're going to discuss that in detail. Also going to speak about a topic that's going around about Elland Road, and we're going to speak about, is Elland Road suffering in the atmosphere? I'll give my take on that as well, and just a few other things, of course. But before I get into that, you know the drill, people. Like the video, subscribe, and drop your comments below. We're going to do the preview to the game tomorrow, so that will be separate. We'll do score predictions then. We're going to go through press conference notes of both managers because we know the Cardiff manager's under pressure. I watched that one too. Boy, let me just tell you, if the game goes the way of the way these managers spoke today, it's going to be a 0-0 draw because both were heavily defensive. Shout out to you, Richard Ming in the house, who's a member. And listen, shout out to all my members, including Ming here. If you want to become a member of the channel, the link is in the description, or is the button next to subscribe. Jay Racer in the house as well, and of course I know you're always here, man. Shout out to you and love to all the community. And if you, as I say, if you're watching the playback, please hit a like on it. Now I'm going to try not to be too long with this one today. I felt like Farke, you know, you needed a bit of syrup for today's press conference. There was a lot of waffle today. I'm going to try and keep this one succinct. But you know, here we do the History Channel, people, and today is no different because this is Lebo your day. All right, this is Lebo your day back in the Champions League. Honestly, this says on this day in 2000. It feels like it was 5 years ago to me. I can remember this game as clear as day. And Lebo, you're scoring in the Champions League, giving us a win against AC Milan. Beautiful days. And hopefully this football club will be back at this stage here. LUFC Data put out the teams for this day. And I don't even want to just highlight our team, which we know the drill. Martin, Kelly, Hart, DeCourt, Bridges, Bowyer, Smith, Mills, Bakker, Matteo, Dubry. Okay, Dubry. All right, man. But look at Milan's team here. You got legitimate world Hall of Fame legends here. Maldini, Albertini, Costa Curta, Shevchenko, Prime Shevchenko as well, Killer Shevchenko, Bierhoff, who was just a brute up front. Great days, man. Great days. But listen, there he is. Oh, and Annabelle was there. I was too young to be in the ground then, Annabelle, but I can imagine it must have been a sensational atmosphere, man, even in that soaking rain. Beautiful days. But you know what? We got to come to present. We got to come to present day. Yeah, exactly. I love that millennial team. Just great. Just absolutely great, man. And to just feel to be near those days again would be something. In order to do that, though, we've got to get promoted. And Daniel Farke today gave us a bit of team news, first of all. And he takes the thumbnail today because for me, Solomon is a key player for this team, even though he's on loan. I feel like he's a key player, but he's a major doubt with a back problem ahead of the game against Cardiff. So if you're looking at it in that way, it looks like Ramazani should then come in on the left with Dan James is still out. So you think that maybe it will be Aronson out there on the right, possibly inverted right again. We all know they bunch up together, but you've got to think that Nonto will stay in the 10. But this could be a time for Ramazani to get his full debut if Solomon can't, go ahead with this game. And you've got to think as well with Solomon and his fitness issues, if there's any kind of minor doubt, there's a small chance he plays. If it's a major injury doubt, I think it's unlikely he may play, but we shall see when the team comes out on Saturday, of course. But Manor Solomon is out. Lewis saying we are so cooked. Lewis, I'm going to give you the other side of this because we are literally playing a team that has lost 4 out of 5. All right. So if we're cooked, what are they? That's what I always ask in these kind of things. But of course, we know we do the Leedsy thing. And you know what? Fair play. He was asked about that today. I think it was Popey, actually. Don't quote me on that. But somebody did ask him. It's got a lot of, resemblance to last year's game against Southampton, where Russell Martin heavily under pressure. We go there, they get a win, and they go on an unbelievable run. And he says, it's, different from last year. There is something in your mind there where you have to be extra cautious in terms of these games. But there are a lot of similarities. I'm not going to lie, except for Cardiff are going to be nowhere near promotion, of course. Andy saying here, playing devil's advocate, I gave Solomon 6 weeks before his first injury scare. How wrong was I? Well, look, thankfully, unless they're giving us wrong information, it's not his knees, which is good. If he's got a back issue, he's got a back issue. Okay, so we'll try. It's not exactly a difficult game for me. And again, we're not doing score predictions today, but for me, this is a banker. I don't want to hear any excuses. If we've got excuses and Cardiff have got excuses, we should be stronger. Daniel Farke even said today, naming up a couple of their players, he couldn't even get three out. He said Mate and Callum Robinson. Like Callum Robinson would be, he'd be the T guy here. He wouldn't even get in the squads here. So I don't want to hear about their experience. Yes, they've got experienced pros that can give you problems, but we've also got very, very good players on high wages that should be performing at a better level. So all the advantage should be at Leeds United's door. But as we know, football isn't that easy. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what it is for me as well. It's a must win. Of course it is. Of course it is. Uh, God. Right. So here we go. Let's carry on down. Let's carry on down. Roden is a possible doubt as well, people. He's missed two training sessions due to a glute issue. Junior Firpo has been struggling with a ligament problem, and he did say it was the what did he say it was? MCL. He said it was MCL problem. So that could be a doubt there. While Joe Rothwell rolled his ankle. So but he expects the trio to be fit. But we've got to you got to keep a, especially with someone like Junior Firpo, especially an MCL injury. I mean, you got to keep an eye on that one. We can't afford to lose Junior long term. And, we've got Schmidt here, we've got Byram here. So if needs be, if he needs to sit out for a game, sit him out. You know what I mean? But yeah, we've got a couple of injury doubts in this one. It's going to be very interesting to see how we line up. Max Verber is back in training. Also, he just appeared today. And then with all this as well, in terms of this, Adam Pope, I think it was Popey that asked him. You've got to forgive me, people. This press conference was very long. I think he asked him in regards to the playing style and in these kind of games against Cardiff, will you make a change as if like not to play the two defensive midfielders? And that's when he went on the whole, uh, you know, not tirade, but the whole defense about his methods and everything else. And on one hand, I absolutely love that from a manager. I like when a manager, no matter what the outside noise is, no matter what they've read, because we know Danny Farker takes in a lot of information. What he says, he reads from, whether it be newspapers, whether it be from articles like Athletic and reading the comments. He definitely takes those things in 100%. The things he says, he doesn't just get from his family or the press officer at Leeds. He hears these things. And then from just asking about, would you play potentially someone else next to Ampadu or, next to Gruev, we went a whole bunch of, we know that numbers don't mean anything. It's all about the final whistle result and everything else like that. Then he went on about the whole XG, XA, completed passes. But the thing is, stats, as we know, we can use to be for your argument or against your argument. We know that. And a lot of people would say with the completed passes, being so high, it's very easy to do when you're passing it around your defensive midfield and things like that. So, he did mention a lot of things, but he does recognize that they do need to improve. He did mention 90 points. We knew that. We knew that he was going to mention 90 points. I'm going to try and keep it short, Si. I'm going to try. I said I'll try. All right. I said I'll try. No promises. But look, he did go on a long defensive thing in regards to not changing the styles just because of one loss. He mentioned about it, Solomon. I mean, Solomon got a big portion of the, not blame for the goal. I think blame's a strong word, but he did mention him a few times if Solomon doesn't slip. But I would argue against that. I think that's very unfair on Solomon. You can slip anywhere on the pitch and it causes a mistake. But we was literally in their half, near enough their final, not final third, but in the middle of their half. There was a lot of work to do before that goal was scored. So, just to put it on a slip, if that's the case, then there's going to be a goal scored in nearly every game from someone slipping over or mispassing the ball, misplacing the pass. So there was a lot of work to be done after the Solomon slip. And, just talking about things like that, we should have had a penalty, which is correct. And things like Joseph and Nanto's misses and things like that. So he was putting a whole thing together today in regards to sticking to his plan, sticking to his process, and just keep on trying to execute it better. I mean, that I'm trying to wrap this up very in a bow for this one. If you want to see the full press conference of everything he said, you're going to have to watch the Leeds United channel because it was long. It was a lengthy answer today. Yeah, I mean, Ryan here saying I'd never blame a player for a slip. It's just bad luck. Yeah, I mean, the slips happen all the time. The thing is, in football, every goal is scored is by a mistake. There's always something that could prevent a goal. So if you're gonna you know, put it down to just a slip and then, lack of defensive shape elsewhere, it's not really correct because everything comes from a mistake. Um, Michael saying sticking to the double pivot too, said it was well necessary. Yeah, I mean, on that as well, people, if you're, we're not going to go into, preferred teams today, but it wouldn't surprise me if we do see Gruev and Ampadu back together again. We've seen Rothwell's rolled his ankle. Maybe how Tanaka's got a shout, but he sounds very, very defiant about it being a solid base. Yeah, and he's made that clear in the one game. I think that has probably stung him, even though it shouldn't, because both teams were very, much changed. Was a 3-0 home loss against Borough, where he said that I tried, playing someone different besides Gruev, and it didn't work out very well. So it feels like he tried a little something there. It hasn't worked, and now he's reverting back to what he knows best. And I've always said it, man. Listen, and that's why I did the video yesterday. And if you haven't seen the video yesterday, please go and check it out. And shout out to everyone that did actually just choose one, even though I made it clear that we need both. But shout out to you in the comments that did actually just choose one of the two. It does sound like we are going to have to try and pivot around that double pivot in future games. It doesn't seem like we're going to get Ampadu and Rothwell or Ampadu and Tanaka in a lot of games. It does seem like we're going to go with the Gruev Ampadu double pivot for a majority of games. That's the feeling I got anyway today from Daniel Farke's press conference. Dominic here saying, KG, last Saturday's second half performance left me feeling uneasy with regards to us finishing the autos. Maybe a lack of chances, fighting character, but certainly something was missing. Yeah, and I mean, listen, he had also alluded to that for the last 20 minutes. Graham Smith actually put this to him in regards to the last 20 minutes, where we've got 20 minutes left and there's 8 minutes added on, and we've not created a chance. And he said again, and these for me are excuses. I know that. In terms of some people, they don't like to think of them excuses, but they are. But you're saying that we had one training session together, players were tired, we weren't creating as much as we wanted because we were tired. Then Burnley started to slow the game down with injuries. Their goalkeeper was taking long. He put out the whole book today, people, not gonna lie. But what I will say for Daniel Farke is he's headstrong. And that is something I do admire in a manager. He's not just going to change it because the masses say he needs to change something. But what I would say, he's got to back his chat, because the form for me, it's not the greatest. We should be doing better with what we've got. And if you argue against that, then I don't know what league you think we're in. We should be doing better with what we've currently got, and it hasn't been too good. I mean, we're still getting battered. Somebody said today, Hannibal's got as many wins at Elland Road as Leeds United this season. You know what I mean? We've got to reverse this, man. We're still getting battered, man. It's insane. We've got to stop this, man. We've got to stop this. Yeah, Jason here. You can't give a team like Burnley the first goal of the match ever. Yeah, and listen, we're going to speak about that in terms of the Elland Road thing as well in just a bit. Andy here saying, yeah, Farke was actually asked about set pieces. He was indeed asked about set pieces. And look, there wasn't much of a defense here. All he was saying that is in regards to the players that we have, the kind of players or that we've had previously. He even mentioned, it's quite funny because today in the very same press conference, he says he can't be judged on last season, this season, because it's a different team, it's a different scenario. But then in this answer, he also did refer to Jorginho not being good at heading the ball. Somerville is a good player, but he's not going to get you anything on set pieces. So I'm not quite sure where he's going there. You can't have one or the other, man. You got to stick to it. You know what? Stick to it. But he was just saying, look, he can't argue against the stat about the set pieces, but he feels like it's going to come, and that's as much as he can say about it. He says that there's not no point, but there wouldn't be much point in trying to hire just a specialist just for this. They're going to keep on working at it, keep on trying to improve, and that a set piece goal will come, and that's as much as he's got. Let's have a look. My expat life in Colombia. Shout out to you, man. Farke is the most stubborn, hard-headed coach I've ever seen. Hopefully, oh my days, hopefully it will cost him his job. I see we're not doing score predictions today. All right, we're not going to see nothing. Ryan here saying Farke is just never going to change, unfortunately, and ultimately it will be his stubbornness and lack of flexibility tactically that will cost him his job. Yeah, Annabelle saying they could always try short corners, yeah, or even just a late run into the box. It doesn't always have to be on top of someone's head. It can be it can be one to the edge of the box, someone running onto it, and it taking 3 deflections and goes in. Who cares? As long as we get some kind of joy from set pieces. But we shall see, people. Look, they're saying they're working on it. As I always say, though, proof is in the pudding. Words can only get you so far. Actions speak louder than words. Ryan here saying here it's going to be just like last season, same 11 week in, week out, no matter how things are going. Ryan, it's early, but I understand that. I do understand, because for me, there have been games where we could have changed a couple of things, especially in the central midfield. And just think as well, that long tirade today came from just asking about changing one of the 2 midfielders. Like it was quite mad still. I mean, Philip, listen, you're in the chat. You make these kind of points. Give us something that you've seen so far. I can't put up your comments because it sounds like I'm talking to a guy in the pub. Give me something that you've seen, what can counter what people are saying, because everything that people are saying so far is true. It is true. If you've got anything that you've seen so far in the games that we've played, that gives you the confidence, then let me know, man, and I'll highlight it. I will. But you just talking like an 11-year-old, you know, in the chat isn't going to do anyone any good. You know what I mean? Oh man, listen. So look, what else was there today? What else was there? Yeah, there's not too much else. He was talking about Cardiff in terms of how he prefers to play teams that have just won a game in terms of just losing. But as soon as he said that, I thought, well, in that case, then we should be good too, because we've just lost as well in terms of that. So both teams coming off losses, both teams should be turning over every stone, as he said in the press conference, to see what they can do better. And of course, with us being the better team, we should have the advantage, right? Yeah, we should have the advantage. Mike here saying it would be nice to have a man flash to the near point. Whoa, Mike. Whoa, brother. It would be nice to have a man flash to the near post on set pieces. Seems like 60% hit the first man, and there's nobody making a near post run. Yeah, there's no variation on our set pieces, and we've been through this many times. There's nothing. It's just a floated ball into the middle. If the goalkeeper doesn't get it, someone else gets it, and the move breaks down. We don't even get nothing from the second phase. You know what I mean? It's just broken down, and we're back in, you know, retreat, trying to defend, trying to get the ball back, and then trying to recycle the ball. There's just no variation in the set pieces. But yeah, listen. LUFC saying here, with Farke, the test will be Sheffield United Sunderland. I disagree, LUFC. This is a test this week for me, because this is a banker. Like, it doesn't matter which way you want to write this, or do you think the difficulties we've got injuries, whatever have you, the team we have out should be more than good enough to beat a team that is bottom of the league with 4 losses in 5. I don't want to hear about Sheffield United Sunderland. Get the 3 points this weekend. Absolutely. Lee, the game is on Saturday, but I hear you. Surely should win, and we'll do the preview for that tomorrow. Going on to the Cardiff bus, let me just show you the other side, people, because people that think it's bad on our side, obviously it's worse for them. They're at the bottom of the league. Things are looking bleak. The manager is still there, and he's being questioned about his job. And he was very impassionate about at this press conference too, talking about how it's ridiculous, about how things are being brought up, and he's doing what he can, etc., etc. But I'll give you some quotes here. It's normal that I have pressure when you don't have the results we're expecting, what the board and the fans are expecting, but I can live with this. The fighting together, getting results. When someone has to pay for something, I have to pay. I have no problem with that, but I take responsibility for everything. Asked if he expects to remain in charge if Cardiff lose again at home to Leeds on Saturday. The answer I cannot give because I don't know it. I will never give up until the end. This is my character. Who wants to be with me in this boat? We are together. I won't jump out of the boat. This sounds like a man that knows it's curtains for him if they lose on Saturday. Doesn't matter if it's against one of the championship favorites. He knows he has to get something. So whatever pressure Farke feels like he's under, there's also pressure on Cardiff too. Like this game is huge for both managers for completely different reasons. No, Chris, absolutely not, man. See, Chris, I know you. See, there is no one more Farke out than Chris King. I know that, but this is where you have to be careful, Chris. You cannot just go and appoint anybody. Doesn't work like that. We start appointing just anybody. That's where you could go down a slippery slope. Is someone else get better at the team? Of course, there's an argument for that, but don't just go and appoint anybody, Chris. One of those. Um, Michael saying Cardiff got a bad feeling about this one. A manager that should be sacked like Martin last season, and we might end up saving his job. That's up to Farke and the team not to allow that to happen. It's up to them. He also talked about Bamford being probably available. I don't know if he's going to be available because we heard this last week. He's saying he's trying to build up to match fitness. Patrick knows his body, etc., etc. So we'll see if we get a Bamford cameo come Saturday as well. Yeah, Sean, I think Pep might do okay. Although, you know what, saying that, Sean, I don't know. Maybe he would. Maybe he would, because we do have better, technical players now than we did a few years ago. So maybe he would, but I don't know. I think there's other people out there. But listen, Farke is the guy in charge right now, so it's all on him. So we can only really speak about him. Paul here saying, Paul saying, must admit when he said he's not going to change Ampadu and Grev, his heart sank. Paul's heart sank. Everyone wants to see Tanaka get a full game. He showed more in 10 minutes than Ampadu all season. Yeah, Ampadu's getting a bit of stick. And listen, I'm a big Ampadu guy. I think he's the right man for the captaincy. I think he's one of the best defensive midfielders, but it also doesn't excuse that he hasn't been on his best form so far. And we need him to be that again, because when he's on his top form, he looks like he should be playing in the Premier. It's almost like we saying last season with Ampadu, man, we are so lucky to have this guy. He should be playing in the Prem right now. Hasn't started that way, but listen, man, give Ampadu, give Roden time, especially if Roden comes back to play in this game. They'll come good for me. I'm going to say they'll come good for me. So that is a lot of the press conference. Listen, it's worth a watch. I know sometimes these things are a bit laborious and a bit boring, but there was a lot to take out of it. And also, what was the thing that he kept saying? He's not a flag in the wind. He said that a few times, and that he just means that he's not just going to change his philosophy because people say he should. So there you go. He's not a flag in the wind. Yeah, and there we are. So here what have we got next? Just to close this off, Max Verber. Oh yeah, and that was a pretty good one at the end. Actually, I kind of like that one still. Sam Byram had a laugh with Farke saying, even though he's here as an academy product a decade ago, I'm from this region, lifelong supporter, and how Tanaka's been here 2 days and has a song and I don't. So Leeds United fans, get it on you, get a Sam Byram song going, and let's make Sam smile when he's sitting on that bench. You know what I mean? I thought that was a pretty good line. In terms of that, speaking of songs, let's speak about this quickly, because listen, there's going to be a mix of people in this chat that go to Elland Road regularly, and there's some that go sporadically. There's going to be some that have never been. But there's been a lot of chatter in regards to the Elland Road atmosphere lately, and I'm just going to give my thought process on this, and I'll compare it to the two eras in terms of the Championship, when we was here with like Warnock, McDermott, and things like that, because that's when I had a regular season ticket. That's when I was going every week to the home games, or every other week to the home games, I should say, and we weren't that good. To put it lightly, we weren't that good. But in these days, we are a good team for the level that we're at with the players that we've got. And if the crowd are a bit quiet, for me, I've always said sometimes the team could do something to make the crowd get up. It shouldn't always be on this crowd. This crowd has done more than enough, especially when we were really bad in the Premier League, in terms of trying to G these players up. We'd lose games 4-0 at home, and they'd be getting clapped off the pitch. And then all you'd hear at the end of the interview, in terms of our players talking, was, "Oh, the crowd, we didn't deserve that today. We've lost, but we're going to do our best, give our all in the next game." They didn't deserve those kind of receptions. They deserve worse. But they've been supported, and they can't deny that. In terms of the atmosphere over the last couple of years, it's probably because there's expectancy on the football team. And if it's not being delivered, if the football's not very good, if there's just pure sideways, backways passing, then the crowd aren't going to be as vocal. And there is expectancy on us to win games. Now, things can change. Like if Joseph puts that away last week, let's take last week, for instance, he puts that away early, the crowd are going to be bouncing from the first minute because we're 1-0 up. We're going to be in the ascendancy. Burnley are going to have to change their plan. And it's a different kind of game, isn't it? But when you're getting a large portion of games where the passing isn't that slick, it's not that quick, the crowd aren't just going to be singing for no reason. Now, I take it to the time when I was going, and we was a bad football team. There was no expectancy on the football team. We were literally going just because we support Leeds. It's as simple as that. We weren't going to get relegated. We weren't going to get promoted. Our seasons would pitter out and we finished 14th, 15th. We were just going just because. And when you go just because there's no expectancy, you go in there, there's loads of empty seats around the place as well. You just go in there and you're celebrating or cheering anything. I remember when we went a stretch of games, I think we went 5 games in a row without a shot on target, if anyone can remember this kind of era. And then somebody finally got a shot on target, and the crowd, the stadium just all ironically cheered for about a minute. It was that dire. You know what I mean? But that's the difference in expectation. Because there was no expectation, there's no tense, nervous energy. It's just we're here. If Leeds win, great. If they lose, it's to be expected. If we draw, so what? You know what I mean? I remember going one game, cold as hell. Because anyone that's been West Yorkshire knows when it's cold up here, when it's cold in West Yorkshire, there's a bite. You know what I mean? It goes through your skin, it goes through your muscle, it goes through to your bones, man. It hurts, man. And I remember standing there and it for a 0-0 draw against Barnsley, thinking, "What am I doing here, man? These guys are lucky I love this club because no one else would be here and unless you like just had the bug." You know what I mean? My season ticket was already paid for. For you know what, we might beat Barnsley at home. No, we drew 0-0. But in terms, Scott saying here, the crowd are bored to death with the style of play. And if you want to, go back just a few years ago into I don't want to talk about Bielsa, but that football, it was exciting, wasn't it? It was, even if we were down as well, there was that belief that we'd come back and win. I remember us doing, speaking to some of my friends when we're 2-0 down, sometimes you're like, it's not over. It's like the Aston Villa Everton game. Even when Everton went 2-0 up, I've said Aston Villa will still win this game, and they did. There was just that belief in the team in order to get results. But I don't know, maybe because there's a lot on the line at this point in time that the crowd are a little bit more tentative. But goals help that. Exciting football helps that. Just a variation in play helps that as well. So it's, for me, I've always said it's not always on the crowd. It's up to the players to help generate the atmosphere to be better. NFT investment saying we've lost all identity under Farke. I mean, there is an identity NFT. Whether it's a great one, I don't know. Listen, I've always said it, man. I've got nothing. This is probably the worst bit to be with a manager. Probably the worst. I'm not bothered by him. Like at this point in time, if he stays, cool. If he goes, I'm interested to see who's next. I've got no feeling on him either way. I still think he could possibly get the job done if he gets a good run of results together, if he finally works out his best 11, how to utilize his players, use the substitutions in the right way. I've just got no feeling on him. I'm apathetic to him. Really, I really am. Um, UFC Ryan saying even just play a more attacking midfield for the home games and then the double pivot would make more sense to me. Yeah. I mean, maybe that too. Just because that's what I'm saying. Farke, I mean, look, like we say, stats can be used for you and against you. And you talked about pass completion, but we see the passes. If you're watching the games, you can see where the passes are going. And it's usually across the midfield, back to Stroud, back to Roden, back to Melier, and rinse, repeat. We're not seeing the fullbacks attacking enough for me in terms of how much we go forward with. We're not seeing them hit the byline enough. There's things that we can change. But look, as I've said to you all before, if we win games, no one cares. So if we come out and win a game after scoring the 47th minute, everyone goes home happy, and it is as simple as that with in terms of football. I didn't get that, Hank. Thought it was funny. He doesn't seem bothered by playing slowly from a losing position. I didn't get that from him today, Hank. I gotta say, I didn't hear that from him in terms of him, unless that's how it came across. I didn't get that from him today. All I got from him was that he still believes in his style of play. He believes in the system that he's implemented. He believes he has a plan B as well, which is interesting. And listen, the proof will be in the pudding. He also said as well, which was almost scared me, but he did kind of correct it later on. He said that results don't mean that much to me. Performances do. That's scary to me. I'm not gonna lie. And listen, by the way, Roma sacking Daniel De Rossi shows you just how great Jose Mourinho is. For everyone that says boring football, Jose is probably the poster boy for that. got a trophy with Roma, got into another final, they sack him. Look what they're doing now. But listen, that's what happens with great managers. But look, yeah, he was talking about results don't matter, performances do, but sometimes they go hand in hand. But some would say, for the people that would, go against it, and Graham Smith kind of did allude to this, you say that results don't matter, performances do, but what if for the people that say performances aren't that good? And he just went in, he gave his explanation for that. Yeah, fair. Okay, Hank saying I was reading between lines. Yeah, I didn't get that personally, Hank, from what you were saying. I would think you would prefer that Joseph had scored early, Nanto would score early. Yeah, and listen, in all fairness to him as well, something I did agree with him on was that Brendan Aronson, because this is something I said in the match review last week. I said that Brendan Aronson, for me, had put through a couple of really good balls that just weren't capitalized on. It's a bit like Morgan Rogers at the minute at Villa. He's got no goals, no assists, but he's been playing brilliantly. And for me, Aronson, that ball through to Nanto was absolutely brilliant. If Nanto finishes that, everyone's talking about Brendan Aronson's pass. But because it didn't come to a goal, people think he was wasteful. But Brendan Aronson, for me, was probably one of our most creative sparks in that first half. So sometimes it is about execution, but sometimes you got to single things out and go, that was actually a good moment, but it just wasn't complete. Michael saying Graham was good in the press and really took it to him. Yeah, I thought this was one of the best ones. I got to be honest. I think both Popey and Graham Smith. I think Graham Smith did put something out on Twitter before the press conference started in regards to comments fans make, and maybe that was playing a part of it. But yeah, I thought today was actually really good in terms of the questions, and in all fairness to Farke, he had answers for him, except for obviously the set pieces one. So good all round. But as we know, people, these things won't matter until we get those wins, people. Um, Ryan say made no sense taking Aronson off last week. I think it did, Ryan, because if you remember, he came back. He had played 66 minutes for America on the Wednesday, and I was surprised he even started the game. So the fact we got as much as we did out of Brendan was pleasant for me, because he had come back late. You got to think he came back from Ohio in America, so I was surprised he even started the game. So I do understand why he did have to come off. Okay, something else that's come up as well, which kind of affects me as a streamer. Never mind, I mean, not never mind. In addition to you guys that go to the games, for whatever reason, the fixture against Blackburn, as advised by police, is going to now kick off at 1:30. No idea why. Not sure why this is even a why this is a thing. Don't know what an hour and a half does for the police over there, but now it kicks off at 1:30. So I know that I'm not going to be back in time from where I'm going to be to do a match reaction straight away. It will be delayed in the evening, but I will be live for that one because I'm already going to not miss two match reactions. They will be uploaded, so keep an eye out for those during that week. But in this one, I was hoping to get back in time, but I'm still going to be in transit when this game kicks off. So I'll give my thoughts on that and we'll discuss that after the game. But it'll probably be like 2 hours after the game's finished, though. So you'll have to forgive me. But there you go. If you've made plans for this game, you may have to rearrange your ticket, and hopefully you got an amendable one because we know those non-refundable ones cheaper, but you get no flexibility. I'm sorry to say. Yeah, I think Ryan, I think there's about 7,000. I think there's 7,000 to it. Natalie here saying last season the Leicester fan base were criticizing their manager, who was Maresca, and that is true, Natalie. Playing styles and lack of goals, and it worked out for them. We have to keep the faith. Yeah, listen, Natalie and everyone else, I've always got faith as long as the results are there. You know what I mean? As when you get results, I've told you before, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't. You can put in everything you want. You can say what you like about the playing style, whoever's playing, even if you don't like them. If they're getting results, cool. So, and that starts this weekend, though, Natalie. Because the thing is, as well, the person in the chat here who's, I don't know if he's on Farker's payroll or not, but let's just say we don't beat Cardiff this weekend. When are we expecting another win? For a team that is challenging for top two, this is a team that isn't expected to finish 8th, 9th, 10th, or even in the playoff positions. We're expected to finish 1 or 2 this season. Us, along with Sheffield United and Burnley, when do we start to get these run of results together? Because you need that in this division. And also as well in that, Natalie and everyone else, you mentioned about Leicester losing 8 games or 7 or 8 games themselves last year. Of course, you're going to lose games, but in between those losses are an incredible runs of results where you lose a game, it's like it doesn't matter. We've got a buffer, we've got a cushion, and we need that. At the moment, we're chasing again. in terms of that. Okay, I'm gonna give you one more chance. I'm gonna give you one more chance. Okay, anyway. But listen, people, that is it for today. We're gonna do the match preview tomorrow. Gonna do the predicted 11 or preferred 11, I should say, and then we'll go into all that stuff tomorrow. We'll see what Cardiff are playing with and what we're possibly going to be playing with as well. But listen, people, that is it in terms on that. Please hit a like on the video before you go. Drop your comments below if they're sensible, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video, people. Peace out.